welcome everybody to not Wheeler the podcast exactly, but to Sail Me to the Moon, the Sailor Moon rewatch podcast featuring me, Wheeler,
and me, not Wheeler, anti-Wheeler.
in a lot of ways.
No, it's just me, Jess. It's me.
To this episode, we're going to cover the first 3 episodes of Sailor Moon. We initially, in hyping this up, talked about maybe doing the dub. And
we talked a lot of shit and made a lot of promises.
I wouldn't say promises. We overhyped a little bit.
We did.
The problem is the dub is not the anime.
The dub is not the anime. What? What are you trying to say? I think what you are trying to say is the dub was not available on Hulu.
No, that's not just it. There's other things, other issues where it makes it very odd to do both the dub and the sub. Also,
it took me like 2 hours just to watch one of the episodes and take notes. So
I mean, you're very invested. I mean, you have to do that.
Well, I should preface this by saying that Sailor Moon is very special to me. Sailor Moon was baby's first anime. It is my second favorite anime of all time, and it's real special to me. It's real special.
Yeah.
So I want to do this whole thing justice, and by that I mean I want to flay it apart and reap the benefits.
Yeah. Let's start off by like I was saying, we're planning to do both the dub and sub, and for both reasons of it not the good dub not being on Hulu.
Yeah.
And the dub being completely different in a lot of ways. We decided it'd be better just to do the sub for the pure experience.
Yeah. We should also preface by saying that the Cloverway dub, which is the dub we are specifically referring to, the original Cloverway dub, is what I grew up on. It's what I know best. I have not. A lot of you may not even know this, but Viz did another dub a couple years ago. And it's awful. I couldn't get through it.
Okay. It's the Cloverway dub is also awful, but in a different way.
Yeah, but it's nostalgically awful. Okay, so the Viz dub didn't do away with the homo aspects, so there's that. Yeah. But the voice acting is trash. I should specifically say that. It's just the voice acting.
I watched a little bit of it just to see, and it's not terrible, but it definitely lacks a lot of the charm that you...
Yeah. Voice acting used to be so good in the 90s. What happened? What happened? Don't hold me to that, actually. But yeah, so as we're going along with this, we will probably be interjecting comparative and contrastive notes on specific scenes and how they were different in the Cloverway dub, how they align with some moments I remember from the manga, and maybe once in a while we'll trash talk Crystal.
Yeah, once in a while.
Once in a while.
For these episodes, I watched along with the dubbed version. And I will have some input for that.
Which is great, because I remember I've watched Sailor Moon all the way through at least 20 times by now, at least. So I have a lot of opinions, and I am excited to hear your opinions. And if you guys at home would like to watch along with us, that would be fun. Sound off in the email, ask us questions, ask us opinions, give us your opinions. We'd love to fucking hear them.
Yeah. Wheeler the podcast on Twitter, on Wheeler, what is it? Wheeler Podcast. That's it. It's Wheeler Podcast, not Wheeler the Podcast, on Twitter and Tumblr.
Yeet.
And I think now we can start talking about the actual show.
All right, so I have some pretty comprehensive notes, so if you would allow me, I will start explaining.
Okay, you just can start off.
All right. I now bring you to Sailor Moon Season 1, Episode 1, entitled The Crybaby Usagi's Beautiful Transformation. Which, first off, I would like to start by saying every single episode of this damn show has a long-ass title.
It's great.
It is primo. It's amazing. Okay, so first off, if you've never heard the original opening theme of Sailor Moon, entitled Moonlight Densetsu, go to YouTube, listen to it right now. It's a fucking bop.
You will hear a version of it as the theme for this, probably.
Yeah. The English version was not bad, honestly. The German version fucking sucks.
Is it a German Naruto opening situation?
Yeah. Wait, no, it's not nearly as. Oh god, we don't talk about that. No, it's just not a good. It's not. It doesn't have as much charm. But yeah. So, before we jump into the plot and the opening scene, I want to explain this for people who don't know. I'm sure everybody knows, but the biggest, most withheld secret of the whole show is that Tsukino Usagi literally translates to moon rabbit. There we go. We're putting it out there. That's that. Yeah. And so leading into the opening scene, we see a blanket which has rabbits and moons on it. Go figure.
You gotta be very subtle with this.
It's so subtle, right? It's so subtle. Okay, so Usagi introduces herself. She's 14 years old. She's in 8th grade, which is a middle school 4th year in Japan. And she comes right out there and says, hey, I'm a bit of a klutz and a crybaby too. So she's at least self-aware. She knows.
Yeah, my note for this is, what was it? Dating site profile. Just putting it all out there.
She's putting it all out there, yeah. She literally the first scene involves her being late, which is a great setup for the rest of the fucking show.
Yeah. Any comments need to be made about her mom?
Yes, actually. You'll find a theme in my notes as time goes on. I would like you to keep count of every time I mention I would fuck someone.
Okay.
Because I would fuck Usagi's mom. Her name's Fuko, I believe. I would fuck her mom. There you go.
Okay. Literally, my first note I have here is MILF mom.
Yeah, I thought that would probably be in your notes, so I just wanted to go ahead and address it. But yes, I want to keep a tally on how many people in this show I say I would fuck. We're at 1. It'll grow. Okay, so despite already being late, Usagi stops to help a cat which is being beat up by some very, very ugly children. Like, they did not spend any of the budget on those kids. So, she's already fucking late, but she stops to help this poor cat. That tells us, what kind of person Usagi is. She's always giving to others. She's always doing for other people, and she doesn't really give a fuck about herself in a really deep way. The fucking cat has band-aids on its forehead. And there's a fucking crescent moon, which she thinks is a bald spot, which is hilarious. Because this is, for those of us who know, which is everyone, that's Luna.
Yeah.
She is a key component in this whole situation. And then Luna does this really totally sick backflip off Usagi's head, which was just the best thing I've ever seen. And they have an intense stare down before the clock chimes, and Usagi realizes she's even more fucking late. And she's like, shit, gotta eat.
Are you already to the classroom now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just decided, I'm already in trouble in the hallway. Let me just eat now and get into more trouble.
Yeah. So we find out that Usagi goes to Juban Public Middle School, which means that this whole series takes place pretty much in and around Tokyo, which is pretty fucking neat. Her teacher tells us that she's often late, and she stands in the hallway. She gets fucking hungry. She eats. Tally mark number 2. I'd fuck Haruna Sensei.
Okay. She's very single.
She is very single.
We'll get to that later.
She is also painfully straight. But yeah. So yeah. We find out that Usagi got a fucking 30% on her quiz, which is that's relatable. And
yeah, notice that is just dumb energy.
Yeah, big dumb energy. We are introduced to Naru, which is Usagi's best friend. And I don't know if you remember, but in the Cloverway dub, her name was Molly. And she had a Brooklyn accent.
That's great.
Hilarious. It was, I don't know what is with 90s anime dubs and giving the kind of dopey best friend a Brooklyn accent. I mean, Joey Wheeler. Hello. I don't know why that became popular.
I know like the Southern accent thing is like based on like Japanese Southern accents, but I don't know where the Brooklyn accent thing comes from.
I don't know. Isn't it this is a side point, but isn't it the Singapore dub of DM that gives Rio Bakura a fucking Texas accent?
That sounds like the Singapore dub.
It does sound like Singapore dub. But so we get introduced to Naru. She's scolding Usagi for her lack of self-control. And Usagi responds by saying that she's a growing girl. She needs to eat. And this brings me to my next point. Usagi's metabolism pisses me off. She is always eating. And, I know she has, she fights people and whatever, but, I exercise every day. And I'm bitter.
She sleeps a lot. You lose most of your weight when you sleep. That's how it works.
That explains a lot. Explains why I'm so fat, because I never sleep. All right, so we meet Umino, who is the awkward nerd. He has weird fucking swirly glasses, and he is very insensitive because he insensitively asks about the test, and he says, well, first of all, Naru, best friend Naru, says, of course she did badly. We're just being set up to see how much, Usagi sucks at everything.
Yeah. He says he didn't even study.
Yeah.
And he got a 95, which was a bad grade for him.
Which, fuck off. Fuck off.
Good old Melvin.
Yeah. Yeah, Melvin. Oh my god. We get the first mention of Sailor V.
Okay. With that, I gotta say, in the dub, already a fan of Sailor V.
Yeah.
And,
I remember that.
She is for some reason.
But yeah, in the subs, Naru's talking about it, and Usagi goes along with it. And then Usagi's like, "Who's that?" And Naru's like, "Don't act impressed if you don't know what I'm talking about." Yeah. So Umino explains who she is, what she's been doing, and if I remember correctly from the manga, Sailor V has mostly been spotted in France because Minako, Sailor Venus, spoilers, is studying abroad in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's this part really makes me laugh because they say that it's rumored that Sailor V has been working with cops. Sailor V would never. Naru is a thief apologist.
Yeah, I have down pro stealing Usagi.
Yeah. Naru's mom runs a fucking jewelry store. So they're having a jewelry sale, and this is where we start setting up the villain of the week plot.
Yeah. Let's go back to the pro stealing thing. Naru talks about, I understand whatever Sailor V does, because it wouldn't be great to just grab jewels, have jewelry, diamonds, all that. And then Usagi says, yeah, I agree.
And Umino does not understand. he is baffled. And it's like, lol, girl thing. Gender.
I thought it was him not understanding wanting to steal things because he was a nerd, but either way works.
I'm pretty sure it was about the whole jewelry thing. But yeah, so we find out that Naru's mom's jewelry store is having a sale. And there's this weird moment where Umino seems like terrified of Usagi, which is hilarious.
Oh, yeah, like right after.
Yeah. And then the scene cuts to a dark cavern with some creepy ass music. A very weird lady sits at a throne with a magic crystal ball, and we have the first mention of the legendary silver crystal. Maboroshi no Ginzuisho.
Something that I don't think is mentioned at all ever in the dub.
It's mentioned eventually.
Eventually, okay.
It's called something else. I think it's just called the silver crystal.
We'll hear it sometime.
But yeah. So this is Queen Beryl. She is the big baddie, although as you'll see throughout the series, there is always a figurehead big baddie that is actually controlled by something bigger.
Yeah. Power Rangers rule.
Yeah. So this is Queen Beryl. And she sits there and does nothing most of the time. But she makes mention of the fact that their great ruler needs energy. And until they can find the silver crystal, they need to get human energy. And whenever we see Queen Beryl in her lair, there are always vague crowds of people that are always there, and sometimes they disappear, but they never do anything.
Yeah.
They're never out doing shit. Presumably.
They're just like the reserves. They're just there.
Yeah, they're just there. It's very strange. But then we get introduced to Jadeite. The straightest of all the shit to now.
And Jadeite and his Rasengan.
It's a fucking Rasengan, yeah. Yeah. And his fucking yaoi hands. Like, oh my god. It's, just a fun fact. A lot of the villains throughout Sailor Moon, but especially here in this first season, are named after gems or minerals of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty fucking neat. So Jadeite introduces his plan, which is the plot of every episode ever. He is going to use a Yoma, a demon of some sort, to trick some people into doing some shit, and their energy will be sucked. And that is the plot of every episode of Sailor Moon that ever exists. Yeah. But in different capacities.
Yeah, different methods.
Yeah.
And this one is, they have replaced Molly's mom.
Yeah.
Somehow, and is now giving people jewelry to that sucks out their energy.
Yeah. Okay. So the next scene opens in the jewelry store, and there are so many redheads. There cannot be that many redheads in Japan. There can't. There can't. I'm not being racist. There just can't. There are so many redheads. Naru's mom, quote unquote, is very energetic. Yoma thing aside, tally 3, I'd fuck Naru's mom.
Okay, yeah. Okay. We probably skipped one, but Beryl?
Yeah, what about her?
I'm just trying to
Nope.
confirm. Okay.
I'm not, no, not Beryl. No.
Okay.
Did you see her hands? Want that up in my pussy? No thanks. No, Beryl's not my type. Okay, so just in case you hadn't figured out what was going on yet, the Yoma disguised as Naru's mom gives like this weird evil smirk and says, "Foolish humans."
Yeah.
You know, just to make sure you're on the same page as everybody else. There's more redheads in the next shot. The jewelry glows very creepily and starts sucking energy, and we see Jadeite's creepy eyes and yaoi hand glove and Rasengan.
Yes.
Naru's mom imposter, which I don't know why they ever bothered to give them names, but this one's name is Morga. Pretends to be super fucking nice to Naru and Usagi, and offers to give Usagi a 500,000 yen piece of jewelry for only 30,000. And I did the what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word?
Calculations.
Yeah, I did the calculations. I did the conversions. And so 500,000 yen in US dollars is 4,500. 30,000 is $270. That's a fucking crazy ass deal.
Yeah.
That should have been suspicious the whole time.
I mean, it's a bargain sale.
Yeah. And so Usagi really fucking wants it, and Naru's like, ask your dad. And Usagi's like, I just failed my English test. I've spent all my allowance. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. So Usagi leaves and starts berating herself for not studying. She crumples up the fucking quiz and throws it, and it hits somebody on the head.
And that somebody
is the most useless character in the whole franchise.
None other than Mamoru Chiba?
Yes, Mamoru Chiba. And we have the first iteration of, hey, that hurt, Bunhead.
Yes, Bunhead. He's in his best cool guy shades there.
Yeah. So it's important to distinguish that saying Bunhead is so unnatural because in the Cloverway dub, it's always Meatball Head.
Yeah.
It's always Meatball Head. So the man makes fun of the test scores and fucking tells her to study more, and Usagi's only response is, what a weirdo.
Yeah. Okay. In the dub, she after that, I think when she says the weirdo line, she either not says that or she says something else after, and she thinks he's hot, which is which is very out of the dub, out of line with how the subs paint it as not liking him at all. Yeah.
In the original Japanese version, their relationship starts way more naturally. The dub really forced it.
We'll get to what she also thinks of him in a bit.
Yeah. So she's passing Crown Arcade, which is the setting of a lot of important events throughout the series. And the new Sailor V video game is being advertised. And a quick fun note about Sailor V's outfit It's actually based on one of the first original designs that all of the Sailor Scouts outfits were going to have.
Ooh.
Which I think is neat. You can find official art of that online. So, Luna is, creeping, watching Usagi, who is crying,
Crying in public.
Crying in public, which she does quite often, which is also relatable. Luna fucking talks.
Yeah.
And then we have a transition slide, which is so classic, so nice. I wish anime still did that. So when we come back, Usagi's mom, who I would fuck, is holding a spatula up very threateningly.
And she seems so tall in the scene, which...
Yeah, I caught on to that too. I was like, is that on purpose or is that just an accident? And she asked about the test, but by the way she asked, that she already knows. Because apparently she bumped into Umino, who said they had already gotten them back. Thanks, Umino. You're the best. Usagi tries to get out of this, but there is rapid spatula spitting when she shows her the test score. And we get a very interesting look into Japanese culture in the home by the next scene, which is Ikugo saying, "You don't deserve to be let into the house," and Usagi gets kicked out. Yeah.
And after that, we get we go back to the store, right?
Well, yeah, but I was gonna talk about Usagi's brother first, because he's an interesting character, and he reminds me of my brother a lot. His name is Shingo. And he is by far way more responsible and mature than Usagi is.
And kind of a stinker.
He flat out says, I wish I had a brighter sister. Yeah. Usagi cries. And that ends that scene. And then we're back at the jewelry shop. And people are passing out left and right. And there's a great shot of the older, more robust lady falling, and all her jewelry just bursts off of her body.
Yeah, my question I have is, how long have they been in that store?
That's also my question. Although, I work at Target, and I see people come in, and they don't leave until I leave.
That's a Target.
True. I mean, that's a bigger store, but it still doesn't warrant people staying in my fucking store for 8 hours. Sorry, my bitter slipped out there. So Naru is naturally super fucking concerned, and the Yoma reveals itself with a scary face. So shit's about to hit the fan. And back at Usagi's place, she's finally let back in the house, and immediately decides that she's not going to do her homework. She's going to go to sleep. So we can conclude that she doesn't learn from her fucking mistakes at all.
Yeah, the sub doesn't have the lessons learned at the end of the episode like the dub has.
Sailor Moon says... Yeah. So the window opens mysteriously, and Luna comes in and tells Usagi that, that thing on her head is not a bald spot.
She gives a present.
Mm-hmm. The cosmic moon brooch.
And immediately Usagi models with it like it's a fashion accessory. Mm-hmm. It is a brooch, but it's a very important brooch.
Luna tries to explain what the fuck's happening, which would be very useful information, but she's just not having it.
She does a whole lore dump there, and she doesn't listen to a single bit of it at all.
During this, Luna explains that the bandages that were on her moon mark were inhibiting her from using her power of speech and her extrasensory powers, which is very strange, but sure. Yeah. Plot convenience? I think so. So Usagi thinks she's dreaming during this whole fucking thing. And then Luna explains that cops are useless and Usagi is needed to defend Tokyo.
It's not wrong.
It's not wrong. To quote Luna exactly, your mission is to find the princess, wank wonk, and other guardians. And Usagi responds by saying, wow, that's cool. And so Luna gives Usagi the magic words, which are Moon Prism Power Makeup. And Usagi salutes and says the words and transforms.
Yeah, the first transformation sequence.
We have the first transformation sequence, and I have a lot of comments about that. First of all, transformation sequences are awesome. I love them. They're my favorite part of magical girl animes, especially the older ones. My favorites are the ones in Sailor Moon because they're so creative. They're so good looking, and it really embodies the spirit of the show. But how can no one hear this? What does it look like to outsiders when this is happening?
It just happens in instants. It's like boom, it's there, happens.
That's
Probably.
that doesn't make any fucking sense.
You're asking for too much here.
I know, but sound off on Twitter. Tell me what you think it looks like to other people.
Please do.
Please. So, Usagi understandably freaks the fuck out, right? Because, I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, it'd be bomb as fuck, but wouldn't you freak out? And the crystals holding her buns together on her head act like speakers all of a sudden, like a fucking radio scanner. And Naru's fucking in trouble. He's getting choked out.
Yeah.
If you hadn't figured it out already, that's not her mom. It turns out that her mom's locked up in the basement, and I have a question here. If they are really evil and they really don't care what happens to humans, why wouldn't they have just killed her mom?
Good question.
And you can't say it's to keep this show child friendly because so many people die in this fucking show. So many, multiple times.
No spoilers. We're not too many deaths yet.
Okay, it's been like 28 years. Come on. Spoilers. Okay, so
and so she arrives. And she and the fake mom just does a full exorcist head turn.
Yeah, it's really fucking unsettling. And Sailor Moon just makes up her famous mantra on the spot. And it's like, why would you, how would you think to do any of those things when you have that in front of you?
Okay, I think in the dub, I don't call, but she calls herself Sailor Moon in the dub, I think. Mm-hmm. And when that line makes more sense when she calls herself Sailor Moon, not when she doesn't even have like a proper title yet, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, Luna tells her name at some point. But yeah. So the creature's like Sailor Moon, never heard of it, which is just funny, because why would you have? The women's bodies, that are all laying around, they get taken over. They're zombified. They attack.
One of them just has a broken bottle.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking, yeah, it's a heyday. Sailor Moon is barely able to dodge anything. She's freaking out. She starts bleeding.
Yeah, she scrapes her knee.
Luna tells her to get her shit together, pretty much.
And then the star of the show shows up.
So, Rose. Spanish music in the background. There's a fancy cape boy. It's Tuxedo Mask. He also tells Sailor Moon to get her shit together.
And then she cries so hard that everyone passes out.
Yeah, it activates the supersonic sound waves that come from the crystals in her hair buns.
Yeah, that's how that works.
And then we have Moon Tiara Action, which is a fancy, evil, well, not evil, but deadly fucking boomerang. It's a boomerang. Don't tell me otherwise. It's a boomerang.
It's a boomerang.
You know, it kills Morga, the Yoma. Jadeite is pissed.
Her Singon goes away.
This ends Tuxedo Mask Does Nothing, part 1 of 200.
Yeah.
And he is love struck.
Yeah, hard eyes, everything.
Yeah.
And I think that wraps up episode 1.
Pretty much. Although it is interesting to know that, you know, after the fact, Naru thinks everything was a dream, and everybody else also does. Which brings me to my next point, which is, and it's not like this in the manga, kind of, sometimes. In the manga, she wears a fucking mask sometimes. But my thought is, why can no one figure out that Sailor Moon and Usagi are the same person? No one else in the history of anyone has ever worn her hair like that.
Like, even if you said that, like, the headband was part of it, she takes it off when she does the move.
Yeah. So and they never explain that she's, like, you know, glamored to have people not be able to recognize her. It's not like it's just, they never address it.
Yeah. It's just there, just like, just had a dream that someone who looked a lot like Usagi just saved me. Weird.
And the episode ends with Usagi asleep on her fucking desk. Yeah. Yeah, so now we move on to episode 2. Punishment Awaits. The House of Fortune is the monster's mansion. They're not getting any shorter, folks.
We open with a line for a Weird Alley old man fortune teller, and an evil guy in cool shades is in the line. Yeah,
we should mention that once again, Usagi, she introduced herself again, and she told us more. She's a Cancer. Her blood type is O. Her birthstone is Pearl, and she talks about how she's a klutz again. And she recounts the last episode. She does several more times.
Yeah, this is where I had the dating site profile.
Yeah, she is really trying to sell herself. So yeah.
And from the evil cool shade man is Jadeite, I guess.
Yeah, it's Jadeite. They're in the shittiest disguise I've ever seen.
I like that people in the sky just wear shades in this.
Yeah.
And he takes that idea from the alley old man fortune teller.
Yeah.
For his next evil scheme.
And then the scene changes, and we see Queen Beryl's creepy ass. And even though there's, you know, that giant crowd of people, they all disappear. And once again, I say they never do anything. And yeah, so they restate their evil plans. And that's how, you know, I assume they're doing this. They're restating everything just in case people didn't catch the first time. Yeah. That's what I assume.
And after that, we are presented to a very good tone shift of Usagi trying to sneak into class.
Oh, yeah. So Usagi sleeps through her alarm. And Luna fucking wakes her up, and Luna's done. Luna is always done. That's important to notice. But, yeah. So Usagi somehow thinks that crawling to her desk will go unnoticed. Even if she's literally crawling through the middle aisle. And Haruna Sensei is just staring right at her. But she blames Umino for getting her caught.
He did snitch her out, saying like, "Oh, hey."
Yeah. So she gets sent straight to the hallway, and he's acting a little weird. And we find out that when Umino tells Naru that he wants to go on a date with Usagi and trade diaries and talk to her parents about their future together.
Coming on a little strong there.
Yeah, and Naru's like, you know what, man? She just laughs. And Naru tells him to go ask a fortune teller what to do. So Umino says that he doesn't need to because he created a video where they get married, which is just a lot. A lot. Would you say that Umino gives off incel vibes?
Yeah. especially later in this episode.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So Usagi sees the fortune teller has no line, and it's because a new flashy house of fortune has opened up across the street. And yeah, so Usagi feels pity. So she has him read her palm, and he says that a boy likes her, and it's someone she's always around. And Usagi thinks it might be Motoki who works at Crown Gaming Center, but we know it's Umino.
Unfortunately.
Usagi fails at the Sailor V game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay,
And there's a very endearing scene where Motoki helps her, and Usagi gets all flustered.
Yeah. Alternative love interest Motoki.
Yeah, he doesn't stay a love interest very long, but long enough. He is the understated, kind background male character, and he you know, he's average.
Yeah.
Also, Luna is there, and she bites Usagi's sleeve. Yeah.
And I think what follows up is, what is she trying to decide again?
I don't. I know that she is. I don't know. What are you talking about? Because the next thing I have in my notes is
she's trying to decide something. So she just tells.
Is trying to figure out that the fortune teller was talking about.
With heads or tails?
With heads or tails? Oh no! You skipped ahead. I was still talking about Motoki.
Okay.
Motoki says that whenever I just perks me up, which is misleading. And Luna scolds her for not going straight home, and the fortune teller is gone when Usagi goes back. And then we come to the heads or tails thing. And I believe that she's trying to figure out whether to go in the house of, I think. And then I think she's trying to decide whether to go to the house of fortune or to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And so she takes off her shoe like a fucking bizarre-ass weirdo. Like it's a coin.
That's how you play heads or tails.
And no, it is not. And she fucking hits Memory. And he says, and I quote, "If you don't act more ladylike, you'll never find a boyfriend." That is being said by her future husband. The irony.
The irony.
The absolute irony. Meanwhile, in the fortune-telling house, bad shit's going down. And the word servant of the devil is used, which is just great.
Lot of vapors going on in there.
Lot of vapors. There's so many vaping. Oh my god. So Usagi ends up running into her father, which we are meeting for the first time. His name is Kentaro, and he's out grabbing groceries. He's a good dad, we find out from their little talking. And it's a very heartwarming moment. You will now realize, if you did not already realize, that Usagi doesn't look like either of her parents.
Her mom is redhead?
It's purple.
Purple hair.
Yeah.
And her dad is just plain black hair.
And you know, technically they're not her real parents, which makes sense. But her brother's hair doesn't match either of those either.
And he's not related to the plot at all.
He's not related to the plot at all. So we just have a bastard family.
And in Usagi talking to her dad, she's reminded of Motoki.
Yeah, because she thinks Motoki would be a good father and husband as well, like her dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, in the next scene, Naru straight up tells Usagi about Umino's crush, which is when Umino bursts in a suit, acting like a jackass.
Ladies' man.
Yeah, and Haruna comes up, and she's like, what the fuck are you wearing? Because that's not allowed. And Umino just pulls a baguette out of his briefcase to munch on. And as he's leaving, he flips up Haruna Sensei's skirt.
Yeah, I have a big note of panty shot here.
Yeah, and there's a smiley face emoji on the back of her panties. This is like 1992.
Ahead of its time.
Ahead of its time. And Haruna starts crying, saying no one will ever marry her now, which is toxic. But we'll leave that one where it is. My next note is just Umino fucks up everything.
Yeah. They get him and everyone else who went to the fortune shop, mostly boys, are just causing a ruckus. No.
Fun fact, if you notice on the board in the classroom, Haruna is teaching English possessives. Fun fact.
And
she gets fucking fed up.
Yeah. And this whole kind of sequence ends with them throwing so many rocks.
Yeah, so many rocks. And then we see the big energy sucker and yaoi hands again. And then God, what Usagi's crying, but I don't remember why. And
Melvin did something. Oh, he tried to kiss her.
Oh, he tried to kiss her. That's right. Yeah. He tried to kiss her, and she starts crying, and her crying hurts everyone. And Luna comes along and confirms that this is some bad guy bullshit. And Usagi figures out that it's coming from the House of Fortune and expects to be rewarded for knowing things.
Yeah. I have a note that says forgot transformation, and I don't know what that's about.
Oh, she forgot what to say to activate her power. Yeah. She doesn't want to fight at all, and then she forgets the words. And then transformation sequence seizure warning. And then the next shot is Sailor Moon bursting in and immediately becoming overwhelmed.
Yeah, and
zombified people.
And the fortune lady is revealed to be a Medusa type thing that throws cards, very sharp cards.
Yeah, and then there's a rose to the eyeballs, and Tuxedo Mask appears, and not only is he dressed dapper manner, but his teeth fucking sparkle, and that cliche. And sexy Spanish music, and he comes through with the inspirational quote, and immediately fucking leaves.
He never does anything.
He didn't even stay for the fight this time. There's a tiara boomerang again, and everything turns to ash.
Yeah, she just turns into a pile of dust.
Yeah. This is one of the fucking shortest fights ever. It's the opposite of DBZ.
And my last note for this episode is Usagi dies.
Yeah. Yeah, so Umino freaks out about what he did, and then Usagi just fucking trips and dies. The end. Yeah. Do you have any comments about that?
Just that she just tripped and died at the end. That's great.
Yeah, that, we're really getting to know her. And now is a great time to mention another fun fact that I remember. I don't know if this is canon or not, but I know that it is a big theory in the Mooney community that the whole reason why Usagi is so clumsy on Earth is because she doesn't belong on Earth, and the gravity is different on the moon. And I, for one, love that theory.
It's so dumb. I love it.
It's so dumb. I love it, right? Yeah. I mean, it makes sense in its own weird sort of way. Because she was seen as, back in the Silver Millennium, she was seen as the most graceful person to ever exist. And then she gets on Earth and everything's wonky. She's not walking right. She has new gravity. Yeah.
And a joke I'm sad we didn't get the chance to make this episode.
What?
Heart of the Cards.
Damn it! Right there.
Literally manipulated by cards.
It was right there. Damn it. Also, I think it was at the beginning of this episode, or maybe the last one. There's an episode. There was a shot in one of the episodes where it's looking at her, the headboard of her bed, which has shelves on it, and there's like a doll with white hair and red clothes. And I swore to God, I thought it was supposed to be like an Inuyasha doll, but that can't be true because Inuyasha came out several years after this.
Yeah, the timeline does not line up there.
My point is Sailor Moon predicted Inuyasha.
You know what? And we move on to episode 3.
The mysterious sleeping sickness. Protect the girls in love.
This is episode 2 of the dub, since they completely skipped over the episode with the creep happening.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? That makes sense, because I felt like I hadn't seen that one.
Yeah, because I feel like there's too much to edit out in that one. Like, they didn't show the broken bottle in the original, and other things probably that were more noticeable.
Wow.
Also, okay, this is they have a weird effect on Queen Beryl's like crystal ball. Like a weird like lightning effect on it, on the crystal ball, and it's very distracting.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we open up and Usagi introduces herself again, and there's a recap. And then we see in the next scene it's Beryl's lair again, and Jadeite claims that everything is going according to Kikaku.
Kikaku means plan.
Kikaku means plan. We know clearly nothing is going to plan. And then in the next scene, we find out that there is a popular late night radio show where the DJ reads out letters to from people to their secret crushes or whatever. It's called Midnight Zero. Haruno Sensei wrote one. She wrote in a letter, and we see her dancing all over her bedroom, and it's really funny. Usagi realizes it might be her teacher because they said the name, but realistically, if this radio show is broadcast all throughout Japan, it could be anyone.
True.
The DJ says that if you send in a letter, you'll receive and it gets picked to be said on air, you'll receive a flower brooch. And the DJ's name, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
J. Daito.
Oh, J. Daito.
J. Daito.
Yeah, this is a regular name. Doesn't sound like anything like I've heard before or anything.
No. Luna scolds Usagi for staying up so late when she gets up the next morning. And when Usagi's coming out of her bedroom or whatever, her dad is reading the paper, which has an article about a sleeping sickness. And he says, and I quote, I wouldn't mind catching that so I can get a little rest for once, which could mean a multitude of things.
He wishes he was in a coma.
Either one, he wishes he was in a coma, so he didn't have to work, in that, which would imply that he is a lot more like Usagi than we thought. Or it implies that his wife doesn't let him sleep. Wink, wonk. So
there is a cute moment with the parents.
There is. After that comment, Ikuko kind of guilt trips him, but Kintaro saves the moment with some flattery, and there's a cute shot of her feeding him some toast.
Apparently, in the dub, it's said that it's their anniversary right there.
Why would they just insert no particular plot point at all?
Like, I think the part where she starts it up and she says, like, oh, haven't forgot what today is, and says, I would never forget our anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why would they?
The dub is very puzzling.
Okay, so Usagi ends up being late as always, but surprise, Haruna Sensei is late too. And when she walks in, she's barely fucking awake because the flower she's wearing is sapping her energy. And she passes out on the fucking desk.
Yeah.
Then we cut to a scene of just Luna walking down the street, and she is sick. Usagi not listening to her advice.
Before that, there's among the background faces in the
background faces,
there's an old man face just
really
among the school students. There's a face of an old man there, and
I did not notice that.
Yeah, like just an old, very old student.
Cursed. Very cursed. Okay, so Luna's sick of Usagi not listening to her.
Usagi does not care.
Usagi doesn't give any shits. But Luna runs into Motogi, who almost catches her.
I have a question.
Please ask.
How old is Motogi comparatively here?
We would assume, based on how things usually in Japan, that if he has a job, it's frowned upon for him to be in school and have a job. So I'd say he's probably 18.
Yeah, okay.
Which, if I remember correctly, Mamoru is, at the beginning of the series, he is in, like, his last years of high school. So he's probably 16, 17, which is kind of icky. Because Usagi is 14. But we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, that's only going to be brought up whenever we think, oh, why aren't they in school?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Haruna is taken away in the coolest ambulance I've ever seen in my life. Naruto. I keep almost saying Naruto.
It's just say Molly, like all of us, like all the basics of us.
Molly. I'm not saying Molly. No. Naruto explains that the sleeping sickness that's going on, and Usagi is jealous that she can't also have it. Kind of fucked up.
A little bit.
Yeah. So the news station that allegedly this midnight show is airing on keeps getting mail for that show, but apparently that show doesn't exist. And we meet the monster of the week, which is appearing as some sort of news anchor assistant, and she takes the letters, presumably to J. Daito, mysterious person.
Who could possibly be J. Daito?
Oh my god, it's a mystery. So Naru says she's been sending in letters to this show, and Usagi thinks about writing one herself. She says she, even though she doesn't have someone to write one, she wants to write someone open-endedly to her future boyfriend. And then she runs into her future boyfriend.
Yeah, my only note here is Mamoru again.
Yeah, Mamoru again. He comes so fast and leaves. That sounded awfully perverse. Later, Usagi sits down to write a love letter. And Luna gives us some real solid advice. She says, it's meaningless to write such a letter if you're not writing it for the right person.
Mm-hmm.
Which implies that Luna, a talking cat, knows how to love. Which
you don't know what Luna gets up to while the camera's not there.
Well, actually, I do because I've seen the whole series. Oh god, but that's story later. Usagi plans to go see Jay Daito himself in person to ask how to write love letters. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you go to a perfect stranger and ask them something so deeply personal?
Just gotta go straight to the source.
She's determined. She just fucking is so determined. So she leaves the house and she goes to the station, and the security goes, right, Midnight Zero doesn't exist. It's not recorded there. When they go home, when she goes home, it comes on just as all the other times, and Luna checks the fucking program guide and says that that station should be playing another show right now.
Well, obviously, it's just a mistake.
Obviously, right? Obviously.
And they were just lying to Usagi there.
Yeah, which, why would security guard let her in anyway?
Yeah.
She's a child. Tonight's letter on Midnight Zero is from, and there is some dramatic flower holding on the part of Jay Daito. And the next day, Naru gets a flower brooch, the same one as Haruna, and her energy goes to the Rasengan.
Yeah.
No
one's suspicious there.
No one's suspicious. What we are quickly coming to learn is that the people of Tokyo are absolutely full.
And while the flower is sapping Naru's energy, Usagi gets too close, and it also saps her energy.
Yeah. And Usagi has in this dream, she's flying and Tuxedo's there. And Usagi asks if he is her future boyfriend. And he says, quote unquote, it seems that way.
He read the script and he saw what was going to happen.
He read the fucking script. And Usagi says something akin to, if you love me, you'll take your mask off. And he agrees. And right when he is about to take it off, Luna wakes her up.
Yeah.
And if I had a quarter for every time something like that happened to me in a dream, I would be so rich.
So many tuxedo mask dreams.
There are no tuxedo masks in my dream. I'm gay. So Luna wakes her up.
I think after that,
Rasengan again, and Jada explains it all. Whole plot, the whole episode, and
all of it.
Usagi sneaks down to the station, and my question now is how is Usagi getting out of the house without someone noticing?
The parents are very distracted.
Yeah, Kentaro does. So to get into the station, Luna gives Usagi the Luna disguise pen, and she turns herself into a newscaster. I love the Luna disguise pen, and I wish it was used more later on in the fucking series, because it kind of gets forgotten along the way.
A note I have here is Usagi commits crime, and I feel like this is referring to something specific. I'm not sure.
Usagi commits a crime?
I don't know if just sneaking in is a crime or not.
Well, probably. So before she goes in, Luna says she might actually, and then Usagi immediately almost turns her fucking ankle in her high heel, and yeah.
Yeah.
She just fucking... this is so wild. Usagi just barges in to the recording, sits down across from Jay Daito.
It's revealed at this point.
Which it's revealed at this point is actually Jadeite.
Daito is Jadeite?
Oh my god! And that is an M. Night Shyamalan level twist. And then, so she barges in, she sits across from him, and blatantly tells the listeners what the fuck is, like they would ever believe her.
She spills all the beans.
Spills all the beans. Not only, that's not even the weirdest part. The weirdest part is that all those people in the recording booth, outside the recording booth, let her just walk in.
They were all knocked out, weren't they?
The actual people that were supposed to be recording, but the actual, like, the Yoma and...
Oh, yeah. Why was she in disguise at that point?
I don't know.
No,
that's a good question. I don't know. But they just let her walk in. And so... Fucking... What? While Usagi is, like, making the spill, she steals Luna's whole thing about it not being a meaningful letter without it going to someone special, which is rude. And then finally the Yoma transforms, and then Usagi transforms, and then Jadeite formally introduces.
Yeah.
And then, as usual, Usagi sucks.
Yeah, Jadeite is way too strong for Usagi.
Yeah, so there's boomerangs. The Yoma dies, but Jadeite does not. He just fucking deflects it like it's a frisbee. I mean,
and then Tuxedo Mask again.
Yeah. One thing to note: there's this really odd walking scene that happens, which lasts way too long, I feel. And then, yeah, Rose, Jadeite retreats, and Tuxedo Mask is literally there for 2 seconds and laughs so strangely. I wish we could insert a clip because it's just the weirdest.
He never does anything. He just shows up.
No. And despite this, Usagi is completely smitten with him.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. So, while we're on the subject of him not doing anything, the one thing I commend Sailor Moon Crystal, the remake, for is they actually kind of gave him a personality and a purpose.
What do you mean? What do you mean a personality? He has a personality. Calls Usagi Bunhead.
That's not a personality. That's framework for a plot. Yeah. So one of the things Crystal got correct, giving him life, I suppose. Which, you know, it's kind of a shame because Mamoru is a very complex and deep character. He has a very troubled past, and it's, you know, he deserved better. He deserved better. So everybody wakes up, and the last shot is Usagi writing a love letter in class for Tuxedo Mask, and Naru snatches it and teases her about it and takes it, and then Haruna wants to read it too, so they just chase it, which is adorable. It's great.
Yeah, the last note is just embarrass Usagi.
Yeah.
Usagi dies again.
Usagi dies again. And that is the first 3 episodes of Sailor Moon.
This has been a nice inaugural episode.
It has. Definitely, you know, comment, ask us questions, tell us who your favorite Sailor Scout is. I really want to get a lot of interaction because, you know, it's something that Sailor Moon is something that transcends so many generations of people, and it's such a world-renowned phenomenon that everybody has an opinion on it.
Yeah.
And I want to hear those opinions.
Yeah. If you want to have any ideas for questions or whatnot, or any input in this at all, send it all the way to Wheeler Podcast on Twitter or Wheeler Podcast on Tumblr.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. We hope you enjoyed that. We hope you'll continue to enjoy this. And if you don't, I don't care because I'm enjoying this.
And we'll be back in probably a few weeks with another episode of Sail Me to the Moon. Thanks, everybody.